Creating one successful brand is hard enough, but two? Well, as our guest today, Alex Carlton, discovered, it's just as exciting the second time round. I'm Susan Schwartz, your drinking companion, and this is Lush Life Podcast. Every week, we are inspired to live life one cocktail at a time by the best in the industry. I met with Alex on his birthday a few weeks ago, having just received the best gift an entrepreneur could, a fantastic review of his Stryyk Not Rum. Stryyk, the distilled zero-proof spirit, was born out of Alex's inherent need to create. Having already had a massive success with his Funkin smoothies, purees, and drinks mixes, he just couldn't rest on his laurels. This time, he is set to dominate the non-alcoholic beverage market. Or should I say, he's set to strike gold again with Stryyk. But before I think up even more bad puns, I'll let Alex take the floor.
So I am a die-hard Londoner. I was born and bred in Westminster. I grew up initially in sort of Maida Vale, and then moved a little bit further forward to an area called Hampstead Garden suburb, a little, not quite as sort of glamorous as Hampstead Village, a suburb off. So I grew up in sort of northwest London, spent, the best part of, I suppose, up to 17 living with my parents. I'm an only child, so I had kind of a, not a financially spoilt, we had a nice lifestyle.
But all the attention.
But I had all the attention, I'm a typical only child, I think. And had a really happy upbringing, living in the suburbs of Hampstead, lots of BMXing and lots of sport, running around and just being really social, actually. I had a really good upbringing, lots of fun. I went to a school in the area called Christ College with some really good mates of mine who were all super close today, and other sort of entrepreneurs doing well in business. In fact, where we sit now is the office group. And the CEO and founder is my closest mate from Christ College called Ollie Olsen. And, there would be sort of 40 of these buildings around London. So, it was a government school, comprehensive, but it turned out some guys that did sort of right in the end.
I guess they instilled in you a sense of, go out and do it on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. We weren't academics. We didn't really study that hard, but we had a lot of fun. We did a lot of sport. We were really social, and we were always working hard from a young age. I had a paper round from sort of age, I think, 12 or 13.
But people don't even do that anymore, probably.
No, but people don't read papers. It's all online, isn't it? Although I like a paper still. And, always sort of ambitious, wanting to do things and create and, make some money and just have some fun whilst doing it. So, up to 17, finished school, and Ollie, actually, and myself, who is, like I mentioned, the CEO and founder of this company, the Office Group, we sort of looked at each other like, shall we go to Los Angeles? We just finished, I think, our GCSEs, and it was the era of Baywatch, David Hasselhoff. So, two sort of...
At least you're honest about that.
Yeah, two 17-year-old guys, finishing school at 17, and thinking, what should we do? Let's go to California. This is a great idea. And
was university at all being thought about?
Well, in my mother's head it was. I was going to be a lawyer or a doctor or a city broker, I think, I'm not sure.
Something sensible.
Something sensible. And we bought a ticket to Los Angeles. And as luck should have it, Ollie's cousin, or second cousin of his father, had the hottest model agency at the time in Hollywood. I mean, it was the biggest Cariotis. Remember them Cariotis?
Yeah,
and Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
It was like these proper A-list names, we were 17-year-old guys from London. So we've been given jobs for a couple of $100 a week. So,
So they hired you to work at the
hired
model
both of us,
agency.
not just Ollie, me and Ollie, his mates. And we took our first little one-bedroom apartment on Hollywood Boulevard. I remember 7400 Hollywood Boulevard was the address. And we took a one-bedroom apartment for $700 a month. And every night we'd rotate. One would have the bed, one would have the living room sofa. And we did this for 6 months. Anyway, we worked in the agency, and it was a time way before email and sort of digital tech, Xeroxing, photocopying all the models' books, all these, pretty girls. It was fantastic. And there's a guys department. It was called It Models Omar's Men. And driving models to their shoots. So you've got two 17-year-olds, having fun living in Hollywood.
And they must have loved you because you, with your British accent,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah, well,
young,
I think
eager.
we loved them. I don't know if they loved us, but we were certainly blown away. I mean, it was probably the best time of my life, from a 17-year-old perspective. So we sort of spent 6 months there, and Ollie went off to do other things. He went to Thailand to live for a year, and I sort of fell in love with LA. I got pulled into the industry. I had darker hair than I have my grey hair now, and I had a thicker head. And I sort of ended up in the fashion world a bit, dipping my toe. The agency pulled me in to do some shoots and some runway stuff. And it was, again, 17, 18-year-old guy, loving it. And there was a period of time, I suppose, between 17 to, say, 27. I was back and forward to London. So I wasn't solidly in Los Angeles, but it was certainly home.
I guess your mom was like, okay, now forget.
Yeah, forget. Alex is gone. No lawyer, no doctor. It's just scallywag, reprobate. But I was having the best time.
You had a job.
Great people, and I had a job. I was independent, financially independent, looking after myself. And in those years, I did various things. All, I must say, very unsuccessfully in Hollywood. I tried writing, I tried acting, I tried producing, I worked for directors. I worked for a great guy called Klaus Luca, who at the time was one of the biggest Hollywood TV car commercials directors. He was the Spielberg of car commercials, and as an American, TV car commercials are the biggest category in the States. So I was his first AD, and we got on really well. He taught me a lot, and so we had some fun. And I found my way. What I did do on a daily basis to the office was buy a smoothie called Odwalla. And Odwalla is just a brand of smoothie back in the 90s, in California. A bit like a Naked Juice or an Innocent. Mm-hmm. And I loved this smoothie every morning, a couple of dollars on the way to work. Anyway, so part of the smoothie, a few years later, there's a relevance to the smoothie.
I'm sure.
When I was about 25, I'm just getting my years right, 24, 25, sadly, my father got ill. Mm-hmm. He was a young guy, he was 52. He sadly got stomach cancer. So my world was upside down, straight on a flight back that night to London. He had a big sort of operation, and I've never seen him in that state before. And fast forward a year, he sadly passed away. So I lost my father when I was probably 23, 24. And, I had my mother, a young lady, she was a young mum, still is, she was in her early 40s at the time. And my world was upside down, no siblings, and, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I jumped back on the plane to California for a year, and it just didn't feel right. I was empty. I loved LA, I loved California. It was at home for the best part of 6, 7, 8 years. And, but now my father's gone. I was working with this guy, Klaus Luca, getting my smoothies every day, and I'm thinking, I've got to get back to London. Mm-hmm. So fast forward back to London. This was all part of the back and forward. Got a job in a recruitment agency, which was...
Did you think you were going to pursue film since you had all that experience?
Well, I did. I had... Funny if you get my memory working again. So yeah, I had some really cool sort of skateboard guys I'd met out there, high, endurance sports athletes type of people, which I was trying to represent here. I thought, I didn't know what I was doing, but I spoke to Extreme Channel, I had all their show reels. I was trying to hustle a bit, but it was going nowhere. Right. I didn't really know what I was doing. Anyway, after a period of time, I had to get a proper job and make some income. So I worked in a recruitment consultancy and absolutely hated it. It was at a time of Y2K when the computers were all going to crash. And I was selling, trying to move corporate type people in the city that manages the bank's computers before Y2K. I was like, I can't do this.
It's amazing you lasted even 2 seconds, considering you were coming from...
Yeah, completely different worlds, mixing with the sort of personalities that you just do when you're in Hollywood and the party.
And the weather and the outside, and now you're inside.
I suppose there was a draw and a pull, because this is where my dad was and he passed away. I've never given it much thought, but just chatting to you, that's probably part of the reason I needed to be in London. But it was dreadful, very depressing time. And I always kind of enjoyed this smoothie I was drinking, this Odwalla smoothie.
Did you find the same kind of thing here?
No, I did one thing better. I thought, I'm going to start my own smoothie company. So I started Funkin smoothies. And I was working at this recruitment company. I just handed in my notice. Somebody I knew gave me a small cash loan, took part of the business, and I created Funkin. And Funkin was born as a smoothie company. So I was selling smoothies that was made really fresh.
Do you remember the first smoothie you made, or the flavor?
I can tell you. I had orange, lemon, and lime, so a citrus-based one. Strawberry, banana, and apple, which is kind of a standard one. I had a tropical one with mangoes and pineapples. And there was an orange, plain orange and ginger and carrot. Yeah, I had like 6. So
did you make them at home?
I made them in a facility.
Blender?
I had a little warehouse that this guy that funded me had a spare warehouse with a second-hand juice machine. Would have the fruit delivered from the 9 Elms Covent Garden fruit market. Right. This is back in '99 now. And I was making, honestly, the best quality smoothies. They had like a 2-3 day shelf life. They weren't pasteurized. They like you would do at home.
And where would you sell them?
Right, so I had one of the first smart cars in London. You know, the little compact smart cars back in '99, left-hand drive. They didn't do them right-hand drive. Loaded it up, Funkin juice. I made myself a Funkin juice uniform, Carhartt trousers, Carhartt shirt with the logos on, and I was like a milkman. I would go around Soho in the mornings. I had a little fridge built. Imagine building a fridge into the back of a smart car. I mean, there's photos from Vogue magazine, did a whole PR thing. I can't find these pictures. I'm sure if you look back in 1999 and 2000, put Funkin juices, you'd find it, but I can't. Anyway, we're in there with this little fridge in the back. And a lot of my friends at the time, London girls, were working at Condé Nast at Vogue, hence getting some PR. And I'd pull up, phone one of the girls. I'm outside, and they'd all come down at 11 o'clock, and they'd all buy for 2 or 3 quid a couple of smoothies every day. And I'd do the same all around Soho to all the production companies in and out of the offices. And it was like a milk round, but it was a juice round.
Right.
Anyway, did this for the summer, 2 or 3 months. I was like, this is going to kill me. I mean, it's exhausting, right? I probably made myself, I can't remember, a couple of £100 a week at the time, but but this is not going to be a business. Mm-hmm. There was a couple of chains in Soho, like Cafe Med, Marco Pierre White's Titanic restaurant. These are the old chain, big restaurants and restaurant bars, looking for freshly squeezed juices. Now it's a commodity, then it was a luxury. So I said, guys, I can give you 3 litres of orange juice, lemon juice, lime juice, apple juice, whatever you need for your cocktails, pink grapefruit. So they started ordering. So I had a guy working for me. I said, forget this smoothie thing. We're going to get 3 litre bottles, load it with juices and deliver it around
to businesses.
So I'm straight B2B.
Right. Pretty
quickly that flourished. And we were the juice guy of London, the restaurants and bars. And, built quite a strong name in the industry. And then I sort of built out to some distributors who would actually deliver it for me. And then there was purees were hitting the market in these cocktails. So I had to develop a puree quickly because I was losing juice business to companies that were supplying juices and purees. So I'm like, damn, I've done all this work. I'm not giving up now. I'm not going back to recruitment. Might go back to LA, but not recruitment. So anyway, I quickly pivoted and packaged these beautiful purees in this space pack, which still exists in the market, Funkin purees. And pretty quickly became the brand leader in Funkin purees. From 3 flavors, strawberry, raspberry, and peach for Bellinis and so on, to 31 flavors across 40 countries now, I'm fast forwarding.
Right.
And then developed the cocktail mixers, we opened up retail, syrups. So I've taken a big leap there. That made me whine. So, developed the puree, seeded that into the market. And pretty quickly, they were selling through really, really quickly. I'm like, this is an interesting part of the business. And then I realised, I'm doing well at this, but, I've never worked in the drink space before. I've never worked behind a bar. And I've got this brand. I'm doing good. I've got Mitchells & Butler as a national account customer. I've got route to market sorted out with some distributors. But do I really know what I'm doing? So I then recruited a guy called Andrew King, who as my CEO of the company. And that sort of changed the business very quickly. Is that, I was sitting we worked together for many years, and, I'm deeply indebted to him for the success that we've created together. And, fast forward from he joined the business 2004 to 5, we built a brand together from 2004-5 to 15, where we then exited to AG Bar, who purchased the business, which is, documented, and sort of the rest is history. That was the Funkin chapter of my life.
So you've really seen this whole cocktail culture grow, obviously from Marco Pierre White ordering juices for his restaurant to, this rise in creating and using fresh products in the bar scene in London.
Absolutely. So the fresh product thing is an interesting one because you're always battling, and that in my previous life at Funkin, fresh versus puree, there are clearly benefits to fresh, but there are...
Sorry, when I meant fresh, I meant puree. You're using
puree,
purees and working with...
Absolutely.
I meant fresh fruit
I see, yeah.
to create purees.
Absolutely.
And sorry. No.
We've driven the cocktail culture, there's no question. We were massively pivotal in that. And, I've got to thank the mixologists that really, they don't like to be called mixologists anymore, but the terms change. But the ambassadors and advocacy that we sort of secured and built with these guys, they were
educated,
and they really got behind Funkin, and even the ones that were still about the artisan and the boutique and the natural and starting from scratch, they got behind Funkin, and they sort of recognized and saw the quality and the convenience and saw that we were there to help and support and drive their cocktail trends, and it does take time for people to come around and see the new trends break, and it's a bit like we'll probably talk about later on the non-alcoholic spirit. It's another same moment again where we're seeing trends change and people market adopting and adapting to the latest sort of flavors and techniques and new categories developing.
You have to.
Of course, you have to evolve and pioneer and press on and keep moving forward.
So when you sold the company just recently,
4 years. 4 years recently.
Gosh, I know. 2015 seems like yesterday. You didn't really have to do anything again. You could have just sat back and...
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Moved back to LA.
Yeah, I did all that.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I'm back. Our friends think we're completely mad. So I'm married with 2 kids, lovely kids, right? So my beautiful wife, Amy, and my son, Remy, and daughter, Sydney, they've got a crazy father. Properly mad. I exited the business in February 2015, and by October that year, we had bought a house in Los Angeles. We had gutted it, knocked it down and rebuilt it, and we'd moved with my wife and my kids into the house in October. So 6 months later.
Was this a surprise to her?
And to me, all of us.
All of you.
Put Sydney and Remy into local schools and spent 7-8 months decompressing. Spent a further 6-7 months traveling, enjoying life, and just not stressing about supply chain and quality of ingredients and business generally, and then got really quite bored and unfulfilled. And
because you'd really been doing something since you were 17.
Always working really hard. Drilling up a road is hard work, being a road digger, right? Building, construction. So I'm not working hard. That was physical when I started Funkin. It was in and out buildings, cars, squeezing and driving. But,
just trying to create something.
But trying to create something. I always believed in brands. I love brands, which is why I created Funkin. I love the power of a brand, and people buy into brands, not financially, emotionally. There's something about a brand you connect with, whether it's nice.
Well, you can create a story with a brand.
It's trust. Mm-hmm. So after up to a couple of years, enjoying life, got itchy feet. We moved back to London and put the kids back into their London schools. And it was a time where, obviously, you're not working. I'm Generation X. I'm 46 today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. And I looked at my life, and I still am. I'm not going to say I'm excessively mad, but I've had some good times. And
you're driven.
I'm driven. I keep fit. I eat well. I like to drink. Mm-hmm. I like to enjoy. I like to have a party. Like everybody I know, it's a social thing. It's a generational thing. But with the news and media and everyone telling you 1 drink a day is bad for you, and it's getting a little negative out there. Start looking at your own habits, and Amy and I on a Monday night would open, maybe have a few drinks on the weekend because it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then Monday, let's have a couple of clean days, but we open a bottle of wine at dinner, we finish it maybe a second one, and that becomes a normal Tuesday, Wednesday. And So you start looking, like, I'm going to cut this back a bit. It just doesn't, even though you feel fine and you're running through life and you're functioning and you're managing, everything's working. And I suppose you just become inward looking a little bit, and how you feel and your focus. So throughout the time I was thinking a bit about this, and I recognised that I need to just look at my drinking habits, not quit them, just look at them, reevaluate how much. But there's nothing out there. So I'm moving into the next phase of my life and my professional career without knowing it, I suppose, but still sort of subtly knowing it. Anyway, I'm in a garden I live in Kensington Heights, sort of back of Queen's Park. And a friend of mine, a guy called Jack Horner, he lives around the corner. We were sitting in his garden, and he had a brilliant music marketing agency called Fruit. Worked with a lot of the drink and spirit companies, activating them in events, festivals, and general marketing and creative. He'd been sort of excessively working with DJs and Ibiza lifestyle as I had, and had some minor health issues for a 40-something-year-old guy. We're sitting in his garden. We're just chewing the cud and having. I think there was one of the non-alcoholic spirits on the market just didn't deliver. We like to drink. Let's not have a vodka tonic. Let's not have a beer. Anyway, we're like, this is just nonsense. I mean, we can do this and a lot better. I mean, from what we were drinking. And so I thought, okay, let's do this. So with myself, Jack, and my original business partner, was the birth of Stryyk. And that was a couple of years ago, the sort of creation, the idea, the concept, and worked tirelessly for the last 2 years, pulling this business together. I mean, it's been a labour of love, and there's been twists and turns and headaches and frustration, and I can actually only I'm delighted to report today that today has been one of the most pivotal days since the journey started, in that we have some new product in the market. We have a Stryyk Not Rum, which is just getting rave reviews by bloggers online. It's just got into the market. One blogger mentioned it tastes better than a real mojito, not rum. So, I mean, today is just, I feel like I'm winning.
Well, all right. So you're in this garden with your friend, and you say, all right, I want to make we need something to drink that's non-alcoholic. Mm. Where do you even start? How do you know what flavors you want to start with?
So the journey was really, really interesting. And lots of learnings on the way. Our initial brief, which I, funnily enough, looked at only a couple of days ago, knowing we were going to be speaking.
You did your homework.
Did a little bit of homework. My sort of memory doesn't serve me so well now that I'm old. I looked at them. I had two non-alcoholic spirits I wanted to launch. One light, sort of to play in that vodka gin space, and one dark, sort of mezcal, whiskey, rums, dark ones. And the first recipe I put together, no rhyme or reason, just finger to the wind. I put a brief for myself, and orange, lemon, lime, and I think some chili, and then the other product, which obviously didn't happen, by the way.
It sounds like your smoothie, by the way.
Yeah, it sounds more like a smoothie, yeah. But I think I was playing on all the vodkas that had all the citrus vodkas, the blood orange, the blood orange vodkas and grapefruit vodkas, trying to hit that sort of fruity, clean, citrusy kind of non-alcoholic distilled spirit. And then the other one was to have more sort of peppery, tannin, chocolatey notes, darker, spicier, bergamot tea, pepper, cardamom. Anyway, I pulled some of these recipes together, and they just didn't taste great, as you may expect. Anyway, part of the journey, always iterating and evolving before we launch, I was working with Tom Sodden, top mixologist and now good friend, and massively respected guy in the industry. I mean, I don't know anyone as dedicated and as professional as he is. I'm sure there are people, but I know Tom, and I'm blown away by his professionalism and his deep knowledge of flavors and scents. And just...
Did you just know about him through the grapevine?
No, actually. Another good friend of mine who runs a gin brand called Half Hitch, a guy called Mark Holdsworth, introduced me. And Tom and I got on well straight away, and he was a really guiding light in this process. So
he certainly does know flavors.
So to have a top guy like Tom help guide your decisions and pointers makes a big difference. Fast forward. So you know me, I like to fast forward and go back and fast forward. We now have 3 Stryyk variants in the market, and anyone is going to talk about their product as being the best. We came to the market with 3 okay products, to be brutally honest. We've iterated, and we now have 3 phenomenal. I mean, as I said to you earlier about this review today, it's just got into the market, the Not Rum. So we have 3 products: not vodka, not gin, and not rum. And we deliberately named them, and this is Jack's genius, actually. You know, I had some ideas of talking about hashtag millennial, hashtag 001, hashtag 002, and you know, which could have looked cool and been quite interesting, people would remember, but doesn't mean anything. But then it would have also given you a bit of carte blanche to whatever the flavours they are. You just talk about the flavours and the distillates and the botanicals. But Jack said, no, let's call this not rum, not vodka, not gin. Really owning each category, unlike any other non-alcoholic spirit on the market, who are all playing in this sort of gin, weird white space. They're not saying they're gins, but they're just botanical. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with them, by the way. I'm just that you couldn't pinpoint. They're not category specific.
Right.
We're category specific. We are saying if you like a gin, but you're not drinking tonight for whatever reason, or this week or this year, Stryyk Not Gin.
So whatever you would use gin with, use not gin with.
So one of the things we do, which is leading nicely into it, is the menu. So when we're talking to accounts, if you take a cocktail list, there's typically 10 or 12 cocktails on that list. Mm. And a mix of vodka, rum, gin, tequila, mezcal, whiskey. We're saying to accounts, and they're doing this, and I'm very grateful and thankful to accounts like Caravan, which you may or may not know, and Put Shack and Bounce, and Absurd Bird. There's some fabulous London chain accounts that are using Stryyk. They put no and low on their menu, but they can also, on their main cocktail list, put a star with our S next to any of the main cocktails that have vodka, rum, or gin. And then at the bottom, in the same way you put V for vegetarian on a food menu, put the S, Stryyk any of these cocktails, and then our trademark, all the spirit, none of the alcohol. So a consumer immediately knows if they're coming into a bar and they feel peer pressure to drink, or they want to have a sophisticated drink, they don't want to drink a carbonated juice or a carbonated drink or a juice, they can now have a cocktail, feel part of the moment, enjoy the ritual, be part of the party, not stand out and look antisocial. And it's a simple order. So when the waitress or waiter comes over at the bar, I'll have a gin and tonic with Stryyk, or whichever the cocktails on that list are, but Stryyk out.
Now back up a little.
Sure.
Now why Stryyk? Where did that come from? I know where the not gin, not rum, not vodka came from.
So as I was saying, Jack and I were in his garden, we're chatting about brand names, and I love a brand name. I'm really, I love simple, one word, minimal syllables, memorable names. Jack was working in his previous life on a spirit company, but working with lots of spirit companies. And one of them, I remember him telling me, was trying to do a campaign or a campaign where you were taking something out. I don't know what it was about, I can't remember now, but he can tell you in another, maybe I'll interview him one day. And he was trying to come up with these words to zero something, zilch it, take it, strike it, do this. So he was telling me all these words. We're sitting there chatting. I'm like, strike it. I like strike, Jack. And then obviously you're not going to get strike as a word, as a verb, which is why it's so brilliant, because it's a verb. You can verb strike. So I just thought the double play. I came up with this double Y. I thought it looked so millennial, it looks modern, it's memorable. And so it was simply born. Andrew, our business partner, the third founder, Jack and myself, we love Stryyk and love the double Y. And I shouldn't say disbelief, but to my surprise, the URLs were available, the domains were available, which are the URLs, the trademark was available. So I trademarked it, and we now have Stryyk globally trademarked, and
I was lucky, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite unusual today to be able to come up with a brand which is 5 or 6 letters and sort of own all the domains and the trademarks. So we're delighted with that, and people know the brand now. So we're only out since October, launched last October, and the response has just been overwhelming. When I speak to certain operators and owners, I was going a bit like nervous. Is everything okay with Stryyk? And there's one example I was thinking of recently, and the owner of a 6-chain, luxury restaurant bar group said to me, Alex, I'm actually surprised to tell you it's doing really well, which just shows you where the market's heading.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? It just shows you the market's screaming for quality, sophisticated, adult-served drinks without the ABV. The term mocktail and virgin cocktail has become almost quite dirty. A lot of people don't want to, I've seen articles of people want these words scrapped and removed and taken out of the vernacular from the drink world, which I get. But what's great is that we sit firmly on the menu, on the main cocktail list, so you can strike out any of those, and we sit in the no and the low sector, and it's building and growing fast. We're getting, we're securing more sort of landscape on each menu, more real estate. Absurd Bird, there's an account I mentioned to you earlier. They've got, I think, 10 Prohibition Stryyk cocktails in their menu. That's quite bizarre. They've still got all the beers, wines, spirits, cocktails, and then 10 right in the middle of the menu. Just shows you the pace things are moving at in this world.
Do you have the audacity to say you've struck gold?
I don't know about struck gold. Struck a headache.
Well, struck a future.
Struck a future. Do you know, we've been through so much back in turmoil you wouldn't believe, but we're there now. I've never been more optimistic, confident, and delighted. I'm proud of the liquids we have in the market. That, like I said earlier, the first iterations were okay, they were good, but they didn't taste anything like the namesake alcohol. Our new Not Rum vodka and gins are the closest thing you can get to the actual ABV version. Will they improve over time? Absolutely. Techniques will change. We're going to keep pioneering and pushing forward. We're not going to rest on our laurels. We only launched in October. We've iterated. We're only in spring, 6-7 months later. And we're going to continue to push and get as close as we can to owning that space, being the choice of non-alcoholic spirit. If you're drinking a gin and tonic, if you're a gin and tonic drinker, but tonight you're not drinking, you're going to have a Stryyk and tonic. If you're a rum and coke drinker, the same thing. So
should we go try some now?
Sure. Let's go and have a drink. What shall I shake you up? Or let me build you how about the new Stryyk Not Rum and ginger ale?
I can't wait.
Happy birthday again to Alex, and thanks for sharing your Stryyk with me. If you close your eyes, this cocktail of the week tastes just like the alcoholic version, smooth and creamy. You'll be amazed. Now it's time for that cocktail of the week. Our cocktail of the week is the eternal classic, the Stryyk Espresso Martini. Add the following into a shaker: 50 mLs or 2 ounces of Stryyk Not Rum, 50 mLs or 2 ounces of Fitch cold brew concentrate, and 15 mLs or half an ounce of sugar syrup. Shake it all up and double strain into a coupe glass. Then garnish with coffee beans. As Alex said, all of the spirit, but none of the alcohol. You'll find this recipe and all the cocktails of the week at alushlifemanual.com, where you'll also find all the ingredients in our shop. Next time we meet the granddaughter of one of the founders of the Antigua distillery. Yes, that's Antigua in the Caribbean. And of course, they make rum. And lots of it. Until next time, bottoms up. Thanks for listening to the Lush Life Podcast. For more information and links to everything you've heard, plus a whole lot more, please visit alushlifemanual.com. Always remember the wise words of Oscar Wilde. All things in moderation, including moderation. And always drink responsibly. Okay, I said that last part. Theme music is by Steven Shapiro and used with permission. Lush Life is produced by Evo Terra. And I'm your drinking partner, Susan Schwartz. I'll see you at the bar.